There is one weapon so destructive that no discussion of it is permitted by military strategists in public setting. Pentagon reports about this are classified. When queried, NATO representatives demur. The regular media gives this notice, then dismisses it as if this thing did not exist. The truth is, this is the most frightening advance in nuclear weaponry since the development of the hydrogen bomb. A nuclear drone for underwater deployment, capable of generating radioactive tsunamis. A weapon isn't directed against military bases or state administrations, and isn't directed against people either, but against civilization itself. Cities reduced to ruin, coastlines made uninhabitable for centuries, and millions of casualties in the blast zone. It's a weapon of extermination, not of military triumph. The Russians refer to it as Poseidon. The West calls it Status 6, but the silence that follows it speaks much darker than the weaponry itself. We have now entered an age where defense is no longer an option, and deterrence is now merely a suicidal pact. November 2015. The Russian government's state-controlled TV channel accidentally aired secret military documents during an event attendance by President Putin. The footage only took seconds before cameras cut to other locations, but Western intelligence already recorded this moment. On those documents, designs of an incredibly large torpedo unlike any other on Earth. Codenamed Status 6, later renamed Poseidon and announced for public unveiling. This was no accident. The government wanted the world to know of this capability. What they showed and told the world was a nuclear-powered underwater drone, or drone torpedo, which can travel thousands of miles under the ocean undetected, with a nuclear warhead much larger than any they are now deploying. Poseidon stands at about 80 feet long and weighs an estimated 100 tons. Unlike other torpedoes, Poseidon is fueled by a miniaturized nuclear reactor, allowing it to have endless range. It can run underwater for months, traversing entire oceans, lingering along enemy shores as it awaits the order to strike. The specifications of the warhead are apocalyptic. Although the core yields are classified, estimates range from 50 to 100 megatons. This is in comparison to the largest nuclear explosion, the Soviet Tsar Bomba, which stood at 50 megatons. Others, like those in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, were only 15 and 21 kilotons respectively. The Poseidon warhead is potentially 5,000 times more powerful than those missiles. However, sheer explosive strength is only part of the picture here. Poseidon, as it is alleged, employs what is known as salted warheads, which involve the use of materials such as cobalt-60, which becomes highly radioactive as a result of neutron flux exposure following the nuclear explosion, thereby causing long-lasting radioactive contamination, making any territory deemed salted uninhabitable for centuries to come. The speed of this weapon is over 70 knots underwater, which is much faster than any torpedo used today. The operating depth is well beyond 3,000 feet, which is submerged well out of the range of any anti-submarine warfare system in use today. Another critical point is that the system functions without communication with the platform from which it is launched. Poseidon is radically different from all other types of weapons in the world. The ICBM can strike urban and military areas but still be retrieved. The strategic bomber can be recalled while in mission. The submarine ballistic missile can be intercepted en route to the target, but Poseidon does not possess any of those attributes. Once launched, Poseidon cannot be recalled. When activated, the zone becomes a dead zone for generations. The aim of this weapon is revenge. In Russian military strategy, Poseidon is known as the ultimate fail-dead system. When Russia is on the verge of being destroyed by an attack, meaning the leadership and the military are annihilated by the first strike, Poseidon ensures the aggressors die as well. The aim of this weapon is revenge, not defending Russia. Poseidon is launched from specialized submarines, mainly the Oscar II class submarine Belgorod, which is specially designed for this type of weaponry. The Poseidon-carrying submarine, named Belgorod, is 608 feet long, making it one of the largest submarines ever constructed. The submarine also has the capability to carry 6 Poseidon drones. The deployment tactic is what makes Poseidon so dangerous. Poseidon drones can be launched well in advance of any conflict occurring. A Poseidon drone can leave the waters of Russia, travel across an ocean, and place itself on the bottom of the seafloor just off the coast of New York, Los Angeles, or England. It's inactive, waiting. It isn't detected by any systems, and then, when the call arrives, it springs to life. On the other hand, Poseidon can also carry out constant patrol routes, orbiting known target spots at very low levels. keeping position through minute modifications on his propulsion system. The nuclear core will provide the necessary power to carry out this task without any bounds in terms of time, as there is no fuel limit and Poseidon does not have to go back to base. The detonation process is where the nightmare element of physics is realized. Poseidon is intended to explode in shallow waters close to coastlines, ranging in depth from 300 to 1,000 feet. The nuclear explosion generates an intense underwater shockwave, which races at thousands of miles per hour. When this underwater shockwave approaches shallow waters and coastlines, it takes the form of a tsunami. However, the tsunami is dramatically different from regular tsunamis in several ways. The first is that this water is now highly radioactive. Second, this explosion will turn millions of gallons of seawater, sand, and sediment into gas and spread this gas along with the radiation over the coastal areas. And then this will be carried inland by the tsunami waves, potentially as much as 10 to 15 miles. The salted warhead core enhances this fear. The half-life of Cobalt-60 is about 5 years, and this means that the affected zones will remain deadly for hundreds of years. The fallout from regular nuclear war is something that will dissipate within weeks and months, as long as it's not salted. The Cobalt-60 will contaminate the land. There is no cleaning this up on this large of a scale. You can't decontaminate an entire city. The weapon is unrestrainable by any conventional means. Modern anti-submarine warfare is based on the detection of submarines by acoustic, thermal, and magnetic anomalies. Poseidon is designed to operate within the layers of the ocean, where most sonar is ineffective. The thermoclines of the ocean, where abrupt transitions of temperature and concentration of salts occur, will act as barriers against acoustic waves. The nuclear reactor propels the ship without the use of conventional propulsion systems like engines and propellers, which emit characteristic sound waves. The advanced anechoic paints on the Poseidon absorb active sonar. Since it is much faster than regular subs, Poseidon can outrun typical anti-submarine torpedoes should it be detected. There is no global system, no infrastructure by which objects at this level can be monitored over entire bodies of ocean. Detection systems are set up along identified strategic hotspots and predefined patrol routes. But the open ocean at 3,000 feet is effectively invisible. Poseidon is then a ghost, invisible until it decides it will show itself by detonating. The automation component poses another nightmare altogether. Poseidon is an autonomous system, which implies that it decides on all navigations independently. This is imperative given the fact that communication with underwater objects is difficult, if not impossible, at very low frequencies. Radio waves simply aren't efficient in seawater, and very low frequencies have limited signals. Intelligence indicates Poseidon may be linked with Russia's Dead Hand or Perimeter program, an automatic nuclear strike response system capable of delivering secondary nuclear blows regardless of the loss of all command personnel. Once nuclear attacks are detected and communication with command leadership is lost, the system will activate on its own. Poseidon is now part of this system, launched and detonated through algorithms as opposed to human choice. You can't negotiate with an algorithm, you can't reason with a computer program following its failed deadly instructions. Once it is triggered, the missile hits, no matter the level of diplomacy, ceasefire agreements, and changed situations. This is the most drastic loss of control by humans over nuclear weapons, as algorithms decide the fate of millions through predetermined conditions. This should be the strange part. The existence of the power to destroy coastal civilization, until now, has not received widespread media attention. Try searching for news related to Poseidon, and you'll find links to small stories, largely from the years 2018 and 2019, then nothing. The media never brings it up at NATO press briefings. The Pentagon has no comment. Few military experts, if any, are willing to talk about it, speaking in muffled tones. This lack of information is not coincidental. In reality, it signifies the collective intention of the Western governments to keep Poseidon out of the limelight as much as possible. The reasons behind this conspiracy of silence say as much about the psychological aspects of nuclear deterrence as they say about the weapon. The first answer is straightforward but chilling in the implications. Acknowledging the existence of Poseidon requires the recognition of powerlessness. The governments of the West lack protection against this particular weapon. No missile protection, no warning systems, no means of interception exist. Talking about Poseidon necessitates informing millions of people in seaside cities that they can be wiped out. leaving no way to safeguard them. This concession dismantles the most basic social contract between the government and citizens. Citizens tolerate massive military budgets and assertive strategies in the name of the supposed ability of the government to protect them. Poseidon shows just how false this perception is for people living in coastal areas. The psychological implications of this reality can be catastrophic, leading to widespread evacuations, financial meltdowns in coastal zones, among other catastrophes. The second reason has to do with uncertainties in Russian capabilities. Although Poseidon exists as a project, there has been controversy over whether it has been fully operationalized to the necessary extent. The creation of a small nuclear reactor, which can fit in a torpedo, represents an extremely challenging feat of technology. The Soviet Union had attempted similar developments in the Cold War era, but were unsuccessful in the project. The lack of guidance, navigation, or communication systems when operating in extreme depths adds to the technical challenge. The reactor has to perform consistently, as failure when operating at a depth of 3,000 feet means the missile either falls to the ocean floor or becomes visible enough to be intercepted and eliminated. Russian submarines, as advanced as they may be, lack the reliability that Western technology has exhibited. Through extensive debates over Poseidon, the media as well as the Western governments might end up giving Russian propaganda credence. If this weapon should turn out to be unreliable in the end, or if it can work in smaller numbers, the effect still gives the Russian government the strategy it aimed for, which involves the exertion of power, fear, as well as technological advancements. The third, perhaps most worrisome, justification involves the normalization of the idea of doomsday weapons in the process of talking about Poseidon. Nuclear policy has been based upon a set of tacit assumptions that date back to the end of the Cold War. These include the targeting of military targets, but not the active population. Weapons seek precision, not destructive power. Poseidon breaks all of these norms. Poseidon intentionally hits civilians, causes the greatest possible number of fatalities, creates long-term environmental disaster, and lacks any usefulness other than as an act of revenge. The naming of this weapon acknowledges all the non-conformities in this project. If Poseidon becomes a normalized presence in nuclear weapon countries, other nations will seek similar ones. China has the subs and nuclear know-how to produce similar Poseidons. The proliferation consequences will be staggering. By not treating Poseidon as something that can be freely discussed, the Western nations hope to retain Poseidon as the aberration, the result of Russian desperation, something no civilized nations would seek to develop. The fourth factor is the classification of intelligence. The information the world is concerning Poseidon has been obtained from leaked information, satellite photos of the tests, as well as speculations. The information the Western intelligence agencies know also remains classified. If the United States has the technology to monitor Poseidon drones beneath the sea, the revelation of this information lets the Russians know exactly what they must work to correct. If weaknesses exist in the guidance systems or reactor designs, it becomes easier for Russian engineers to work to correct these issues. Russia would not know if the Poseidon drone reached its target successfully or if it was intercepted by classified systems. Poseidon revolutionizes the nuclear deterrence doctrine. The classic concept of mutually assured destruction rested upon the presumption that each party was capable of causing the other intolerable damage, rendering nuclear war absurd. This was made possible by the constrained first strike power in the past. Even a strike performed in the hope of a guaranteed first hit would still miss enough targets to create the potential for a destructive response. Poseidon takes this to the extreme logical conclusion. These weapons can't be destroyed in the first strike because you can't spot them. They rest on the floors of the oceans or cruise through the deep waters, utterly secure from attack in a first strike. This means that assured destruction remains in the Russian arsenal, even if all other means are lost. But this has the potential for reciprocal consequences as well. The automation process, in addition to the fail deadly concept, generates potential circumstances in which nuclear war might be more probable rather than less. In other words, if the Russians feel as if they are staring into the face of imminent annihilation, the challenge of using Poseidon as a first strike weapon becomes more appealing. After the deployment of the Poseidon nuclear weapons, they act autonomously, rendering it possible that the process of nuclear escalation. The ethical implications associated with Poseidon, as well as the international law issues, are quite deep. According to international humanitarian law, the use of weapons that create suffering or hit targets indiscriminately is illegal. The Geneva Convention prohibits the use of weapons that target civilians. The Environmental Warfare Agreement prohibits the use of weapons that cause long-term environmental damage. Poseidon defies all these norms. But there has been no official censure from the international community. No security guard resolution, no urgent meetings. This fact explains the powerlessness of international law in the face of nuclear weapon states. They just do not care about international law, and no state has the influence to make them comply without threatening nuclear war in return. In the case of coastal cities, Poseidon looms as a threat to existence. New York, Los Angeles, London, Tokyo, Shanghai. One hit of a Poseidon in Manhattan can kill millions, displace millions, and make the financial capital of the world an uninhabitable place. There is no evacuation plan available in this case. An early warning system could not provide time enough. The weapon explodes without warning, and in no time, the radioactive tsunami hits the coastal region. The potential effects could be just too phenomenal. World finance hubs lie in the coastal regions. The loss of any financial hub will cause an international financial meltdown. And that was the end of the video. If you enjoyed it, please do not forget to like and subscribe for more content like this.